see, like Kentucky
Right,
Fried Chicken. And they're going, why is everybody talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken all the time?
Right.
So, yes, we have to be very, spell it out and make sure that people understand. Well, what exciting news that's coming to the Chamber of Commerce and to the greater Palm Bay area. Now, you've been talking and linked with Andy Anderson. What is his direct title there in Palm Bay?
He is the development director for the city, and he was talking about a number of programs. So actually in that area where Robert J. Conlon Boulevard is, they're looking at, and this is probably 5 years down the road, I mean, this is one of their long-term plans, is to make that more of a destination. They want to put a boulevard in there with angled parking, with restaurants and shops, and make it more of a center, more of a downtown type area. And with the number of millennials that are being drawn to Harris, millennials don't want to live like their parents. Most of them, I shouldn't say most, but they sort of look at the trends, and they're not interested in living out in the suburbs and commuting for an hour. They'd like to be closer to where they work. They like a multi-use area, and so that's kind of the plan, is to look at that area. They were talking about Harris maybe knocking down some of their outpost facilities that they have. I mean, they have a number that are kind of older that they were looking at getting rid of, and so they're looking at either doing green space or adding new facilities and making that whole area a multi-use area. And so it would definitely be a different landscape than what it looks like now. They're also, with the St. John's Heritage Parkway, people keep saying, well, it looks like it's finished. Why isn't it connected up to Ellis yet? And so there was some issues with some of the piping that went in there. So that is looking to be open by June 1st. And then the connector road is looking to be finished. That was approved through West Melbourne. And I'm thinking... I'm trying to think where that one is going into, but 192, and then from 192 up to Ellis. So yeah, that's the part that has been approved, because they haven't started going with that section yet. They're also looking at the interchange that was happening at mile marker 166. That's at the corner of Babcock and Heritage Parkway, and so that's south. That's quite far south into Palm Bay. And that has been, everybody's been talking about that, calling it Emerald City and Miko Road interchange and all this type of thing. But I'm not sure that they have an exact name for that yet. But that's going to provide, between that area and when the Heritage Parkway opens up, about 1.6 million square feet of commercial real estate. And then they're going to have about 4,200 residential area units between the two. Down at that interchange at mile marker 166, they're looking at restaurants and a 55-plus planned community and about 3,700 homes in there. So it's going to be a huge planned development when that gets going, and they're looking at June of this year to start breaking ground. Right now they're doing site surveys, and it is, it's been approved by the Department of Transportation, so it's a go. It just, everything seems like, why is it taking so long for things to get started? But, that's a massive project, so that is underway.
Well, I've got the map open that you gave me.
Oh, yes, okay.
And let me tell you, this is exciting to look at all these. They do it in red, like little slashes or dots where the proposed roads are.
Along there. Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
It's very exciting, and if you would like to see how this new road thoroughfare and bypasses and all these different things that they're going to be doing, stop into the Chamber of Commerce, because they have brand new maps.
We do, yay! Well, we're sort of a welcome center too, and that was the number one thing we get asked. Do you have maps? And we didn't have one for about 6 months. It was just a nightmare, because we knew, you could tell people coming in they're going to want a map, and we don't have any. So they did a fabulous job of the map. The city did that, and they're awesome.
Well, you've been listening to Nancy, president of the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce. Tell everyone where you're located right there on US 1. If they're out and about, stop in and meet Nancy, pick up some brochures, get to know what's going on in Greater Palm Bay area, and pick up one of those maps. It is very enlightening on some of the new projects coming up.
We're at 4100 Dixie Highway Northeast in Palm Bay. So most people know that as US 1. We're just north of Palm Bay Road on US 1. And as a chamber, we have a lot going on, especially with the Mayor's Breakfast coming up on May 19th. It's a little ways out, but that's where you can hear about all the mayors in Brevard County, an update on their cities. So they are giving a 5-minute blurb, so not a lot of time, but you get to hear what's happening from Titusville all the way down to Grant and Barefoot Bay area. So that's a fabulous event. It's open to the public and very, very informative.
What date is that again?
It's Friday, May the 19th. It's at the Crown Plaza from 7:30 to 10:30.
Give out your website or your phone number where people can mark this down to call you or send you an email and find out a little bit more about that breakfast, because that is open to the public. There is a charge for that, isn't there?
Yes, there's a charge for the breakfast. It's $25 in advance, so for members, and then $30 for non-members in advance. We're not sure there'll be any tickets at the door, just because last year we had about 210 people come to it, and so it was a well-attended event. If they go to the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, so that's greaterpalmbaychamberofcommerce.com, there'll be more detailed information about all our events. There's our calendar on there. You can register for events. All our events are open to the public, just sometimes there's a little bit higher charge for being a non-member, but we certainly encourage people to come and attend our events. There are always great networking opportunities, a great chance to meet other businesses and make strategic partnerships.
Exactly. And that Mayor's Breakfast is a wonderful place to network if you're starting a business or you just got started in a business, because the people that attend that Mayor's Breakfast are in the know. They are the movers and the shakers of
yes,
South Brevard County, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And how often do you get a chance to really maybe walk up to a mayor after the event and ask a question, or be able to sit down with one of the people in office and find out what's going on? So please check out that calendar of events. That's a wonderful opportunity. So what else do we have coming up on the calendar? Anything later in this month in March or April?
Yes, we actually have, this month we have our entrepreneurial breakfast, which is going to be quite interesting. We have Wayne Justice. He is with the Port Canaveral commissioner, and his history, though, was working, I don't know if he was Navy, but he carried the nuclear codes in the suitcase behind both President Bush and Clinton. And so he is talking about his leadership experience and dealing with the stress of that. He had that position for about 2 years, and I'm thinking, the man with the nuclear codes for the United States, I mean, that's pretty amazing. He's going to show pictures and slides and talk about his history. So that's on the 15th of March at the Holiday Inn. It's a breakfast at 7:30 to 9. And then we have our Businesswomen of Brevard. That's always a fabulous event. And this month we have Mary Points, is her name. She's from the Army, and she's talking about diversity in the military. So I think that is going to be a very, very interesting one with Businesswomen of Brevard, and that's at Larson Motorsports. So for those people, and it's open to men and women that would like to see some jet dragsters and huge airplane engines and a really neat facility, that's going to be on March the 28th at Larson Motorsports. And then we have a speed networking, and that's always a fun event. We call it like the speed dating of networking. So on the 30th of March, you'll be able to meet a whole lot of businesses at one time, and it's kind of where you're card bombing, but what you do is you follow up. The fortune is always in your follow-up, and so you can meet a lot of people in a short period of time, and those that, are really somebody that you think you could make a good partnership or a good network with is who you follow up with. So it's, like I said, it's a nice way to meet a lot of people in a short period of time. And then in April, we have our luncheon coming up. And for those that want to know more about what's happening in Palm Bay, James Marshall, he's the administrator of the Bayfront Community Redevelopment Agency of Palm Bay, is going to give an update on things that are happening in Palm Bay. So that's more time. He gets to talk for about 20-25 minutes. So that'll be a really in-depth focus on Palm Bay. And
what date is that in April?
So it's the first Wednesday of every month. It's Wednesday, April the 5th. It's at Life Care Center, just off the Malabar Road. It's just west of the hospital there on Villanueva Avenue. So
give out your website one more time so they can actually go there and get all this information, because people always ask me, well, I'm thinking about starting a business, or I'm thinking about moving down, and where do I go? Where do I find out these? This is exactly where you need to go, or at least go to some of these things and find out all the things that you might want to know about an upcoming event, or what your area is, what the layout of the area is as far as industry and businesses, because a lot of people see this as a great corridor, as you said, great tech corridor. Gosh, I can't even talk. So what is your website one more time?
It's Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce.com.
Okay. And we really appreciate it. We've got just a couple more minutes, but I want to go over a couple other things with you. The Chamber has a lot of things to offer down there. You also have a lot of things for the tourists. So if you happen to be listening to this show and it's on maybe the archives and you've missed some of these dates, go into the Chamber or go on the website, because there's always upcoming things. But you do a lot of things for tourism. So when you're very fortunate, you're right there on US 1. So many of the chambers of commerce or the tourism departments, they stick them in another little spot off the beaten track, and people don't know where they're at.
Yes, and we're in such a pretty location. I'm looking out my window, and dolphins were swimming around earlier, and it's just a beautiful facility where we are. And right by the bay, there's Turkey Creek, where tourists, and just people that live here go kayaking, and there's trails for hiking and biking, and they have welcome center. It kind of gives you information about the animals that are in Turkey Creek and that surrounding area. So that's always a great day out, and the library is near there, and so is the community center. So there's lots going on. They have skate parks. Palm Bay is really more well known for all its parks. There's 29 here in Palm Bay.
Oh my!
So yeah, people don't realize there's so many.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize the vast area that it encompasses. It's something like 68 square miles, and didn't you see it's going to be bigger than what was it?
Central Florida, yes.
Orlando area. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because we have more space and there's so much that is undeveloped. So when you look at that map, you can see all in that southwest quadrant. There's a lot of space that's still to be done, and then all the space that's west of the Heritage Parkway. There's a lot of room for development here in Palm Bay, so that's kind of nice. And so if you want to be in a gated community, or if you prefer your individual lot, there is something for everybody here.
Exactly. And what we used to say, I used to work at the Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce many years ago, and it's something to be said when you do business with a organization or a business that belongs to a community like the Chamber of Commerce, because now you feel like you have a company that, will have to stand behind what they say, because they don't want to lose their standing with the Chamber of Commerce. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a inside guarantee that some of these businesses are going to be a little bit more upstanding and so forth than just any new business coming out of the ground. So I always like the fact that you should try to seek out businesses that are a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So we really appreciate that. Thank you, Nancy Peltonen. And I'm going to say it again, Peltonen, right?
Correct, Peltonen. Yes, very good, Jean.
Thank you. I always want to put a D in there. With the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, we appreciate you calling in and giving us all this great insight. And please tune in next week when we have Colleen Quick, who's a financial advisor at Edward Jones. And anytime you need any kind of information about the show or what's going on in the area, you can go to our website at yourhometownsolutions.com, and you can actually request a book called Extra Equity. And it gives you all kinds of insights about the community, also about purchasing homes, selling homes, anything that you need. So thank you again, Nancy, with the Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce. And until next week, I'm Jean Newell,